Hi, my name's Byron, and if you've clicked on this video, it probably means your boot doesn't do this. Or this. Or this. There's another guy on YouTube that has a video on how to replace these locks, and he had, when I watched it, 75,000 views. I imagine with that many views, there's probably a common problem with the boot lock. So, I want to show you how to replace the boot lock and how to repair the boot lock. It's probably better to replace it with a new one, but while you're waiting to get your new one, if you've ordered one from wherever, hopefully you can have a working boot like this one. Okay, so getting to the boot lock is really quite simple. You need to remove clips like this and 2 screws, which are located The 9 clips are what I call pop clips, and I'll show you how to get one out. So ideally they just unscrew as simple as this, and you pull them out. Like that. The 2 screws are under the pull handle. So once you've got the 9 screws, 9 pop clips and 2 screws out, this comes off. And you've got to the lock, which is what you're after. I want to tell you a few things about the lock. We can do some testing of the lock before it's removed. You can lock the lock with a screwdriver. That's locked, just like it would be on the striker. You can open the lock with the internal opening. Good. Lock the lock. Open with the key. When the lock is open, there's a switch in here that turns the boot light on. If the boot light doesn't turn on, there's something wrong with the mechanism. Next up, we want to take this black thing off. Or I want to. If you're just replacing your boot lock, you don't have to take this black thing off at all. But there's a specific reason I want to take this black thing off. Usually you would take the black thing off when it's out of the car, when the whole assembly's out of the car. I'll just see how we've got it. Now I've stripped it all down like this so I can test my repair. How good is my repair of this lock? Essentially, I'll show you what breaks in these locks, or I'm assuming it's a common break. Maybe mine was the only one that's been broken like this, but I doubt it. Essentially, I'll show you what breaks and how I repaired it. I don't know how good my repair is. I'd say the boot has been opened and shut maybe 25 to 35 times. What if we open it another 50 times, which might replicate 2 months of service? You can do some maths. Let's see how we go. And I stripped it all off because if it does fail, I don't know how you'd open the boot. So I can then crawl through and undo the 10mm nuts, which I'll show you how to do once I've finished my quality testing of my repair. Boot light's still working. think that was 50 openings. Maybe I didn't need to buy a new boot lock. But I suppose I just don't trust it. The last thing to do to remove the boot lock is take two 10mm bolts out. There's one electrical connection and a cable. I might zoom it in. Okay, so the one on the left is the one I've just removed. And the one on the right is the new one that's going in. Now, whether you'll be able to see this on the video, but the one on the right has an extra piece of plastic, or a little bit more plastic where it broke. Whether the macro is good enough on this camera, might be. So it's the extra bit of plastic just there, and we'll just compare it to the other one. Just in here you can actually see a little silver line here. That's where it broke, and that's where I fixed it. And essentially you have to pull all of this apart, just pull the spring off and then unclip it, degrease all the grease out of it, and then araldite this piece here back on. It might sound like it's too hard, but it wasn't actually a big deal. It's just that you don't know that it'll work for very long. Hence the reason I spent 53 Australian dollars to feel sure about my boot opening. So I'm just going to put it all back together as quickly as I can. I'm going to reuse the old cable, so this hopefully will be the easier way to get it out. I should check it works. It works. And the boot light's working, which is very important. I'll re-watch this video unedited and I'll put on the screen somewhere how long it took me to put back together. Maybe you can time yourself and try and beat me. Final comment. It's funny how in life, when things work all the time, you just take it for granted. I never thought opening a boot would be so good. Until next time.